this video, we will introduce the slope-intercept form of the linear equation. This is very important. You should take some notes on this so that you have it, and always remember this video so that you can come back and check it again later if you need to. The slope-intercept form is written right here. It's y equals mx plus b. You're going to spend a lot of time with this, and you'll spend a lot of time with this not only in pre-algebra, but in Algebra 1 as well. The m right here, that stands for, or it means the slope. And what that talks about is it talks about the steepness and the direction of the line. Next we have the b here. That's the y-intercept, or where the graph crosses the y-axis. So right here's the y-axis. So if I were to have a line, just draw a line in there really quickly. You can see that this line is crossing the y-axis at 3. You can see the 3 there. So for this particular line, the b would be 3. If I were to make a line over here, this line that I just drew now, you can see it's crossing the y-axis at -3. So the b for this line would be -3. You can also see that the two lines that I drew go in different directions and they have different steepness. That will affect the slope. This line that I drew that's going up, that's going to have a positive slope or a positive m. This line that I have that's going down, this is going to have a negative slope or a negative m value. We'll learn a little more about that later. Let's see if we can look here to these lines. If I have y equals 3x minus 1, I want to be able to choose the slope and the y-intercept. So let's look up here just so we can remember. The m is the slope. So it is in the proper form. It's in the form y equals mx plus b. So you can see that the m, in this case, or the slope, is 3. That's always the coefficient of x. Then I look for the y-intercept. That's the b. So in this case, it would be -1. I'm going to give you a minute and see if you can think about this example, what the slope and the y-intercept might be. So the slope for this one would be -5. That's the coefficient of x. The number that's multiplied to x is always your slope. Next, the y-intercept for the b is 2, +2. All right, so that's as simple as that is. If they're in the form y equals mx plus b, it's very simple to identify the slope and the y-intercept. However, if they're not in the proper form, as these next examples are not, you'll have to do a little bit of algebra before you can pick out the slope and the y-intercept. So let's see if we can do that algebra first. Here I have 4y equals 3x minus 12. Be very careful, because 3 is not your slope and -12 is not your y-intercept, because the y is not all by itself. Only when the y is all by itself can you identify the slope and the y-intercept. So I can see that the problem here with this equation is that y is multiplied to 4. So I'm going to undo that by dividing all 3 terms by 4. So that's going to give me y equals, this will be 3/4 times x. Okay, that's a fraction. In fact, your slope is often a fraction. Minus, now I can simplify 12/4 to be 3. Now I'm able to pick out the slope and the y-intercept because the y is all by itself. So my slope would be 3/4 and my y-intercept would be -3. I come over to this example. I have the same problem again, where y is not all by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 14x to both sides of the equation. What that does is that will eliminate the 14x on this side because I had a negative 14x and a positive 14x, and of course that'll give me 0. So on this side I'm left with a 2y, and on this side I have an 8 and a 14x. I cannot combine those because they are not like terms, so I'm just going to write them individually, 14x plus 8. You can see there is one more step left because the y is still not by itself. I need to divide everything by 2. All three terms have to be divided by 2. I'm left here with the y. 14 divided by 2, I can simplify that to be 7 times x. And 8 divided by 2, I can simplify that to be 4. Now I can easily pick out the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is going to be 7 because that's what's multiplied to the x. And the y-intercept is going to be 4 because that's the constant, or the number that's all by itself. I do have 2 more examples. I'd like you to pause the video and try these 2 on your own and see if you can get them. Now I'll go ahead, and as I work through, you can check your answers and see how you did. Both of these do need to be fixed because neither of them is solved for y, so they're not in the form y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to go ahead and start by subtracting the x from both sides. Gives me 6y, cancel, equals negative x plus 12. You can see I put the x first only because that's how it's written in the y equals mx plus b form, but it's not wrong if you wrote 12 minus x. Going to now finish getting the y all by itself by dividing by 6. All three things must be divided by 6. This will give me y equals, it's a negative, and it's going to be 1/6. Remember, there's always a 1 with the x, even when it doesn't have a number written with it. Plus, this can simplify to be 2. So your slope is negative 1/6. And your y-intercept is a positive 2. On this side, I'm going to start by adding a 6x to both sides. Those will cancel. I'll have a 3y equals 6x plus 9.